Hey David, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. And you see, David, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things, and I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, David, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. It says some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, David, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, David, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing David that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are amazing. And just before I sent the request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things David is doing. Not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing David. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I love the mango tree. And I think it's so relevant. And I think in ourselves, our minds, our bodies, our careers, what we want to do. Man, that analogy, that illustration is spot on because it's my belief, but I think it's accurate. We can't get to where we want to be unless we go through some transformations. Some of those are not is ugly, right? We're not happy. We want to, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have certain failures. And I don't think you can achieve greatness without risking things, trying things, getting out of it. Because if you're always playing it safe, you're never getting there. And sometimes, you go through things and you're like, what is going on here? And then you keep staying, you trust the process, you keep sticking with the plan, you get better, and then you have this beautiful mango tree with mangoes and leaves and everything else. It's just such a spot on illustration. I love that. But hey, I'm so happy to be here with you too, though. So thank you.
Beautiful, my man. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, David, ever since I realized that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason I'm excited to have the amazing David on the show is for the sake of the audience. They say, David, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So those folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, David, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how David got here. Then, afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, David, over to you.
It's it's interesting. We're just talking about challenges and how do we get to where we want to be. And my goal on my first business was when I was 9 years old and picking up dog crap in people's backyards. This is going back, 40 years ago. And I was, I did it for $4 a pop. And within 2 weeks, I had $40 a week coming in the 80s. And that was a lot of money to someone in fourth grade. And I was 9 years old. I always had this aspiration to be an entrepreneur and all these things and do all the other things. And it's really interesting when looking back. Just the other day, I was talking with my dad, who's in town with me, and I was like, it's funny. I got yelled at in third grade because I couldn't write a paper. They didn't know I had, ADHD and dyslexia at the time. Fourth grade, I thought I was going to fail and flunk out. I had to do my speech for a bar mitzvah. I couldn't write it. I could talk out with my dad. Couldn't write it. Keeps going on like that, and now we have a best-selling book, and I'm been published on Forbes. And I say that to show everyone, the listeners or anyone that wants to listen, anything is possible if you figure out how to make it possible. And we go through challenges in life. And my goal is to tell people, hey, you're not alone. Like, we've all been there. You got to get through those challenges. You got to get to the other side. But man, when you do, greatness is there waiting for you. We just got to go through the steps and the journey. And it's not always wonderful, but it can be at the end. It can always be worth it. So my mission, why I wrote my book, why I do what I do, is to help people become successful, whatever that means to them. A lot of it's in business with founders and entrepreneurs, but just in general of what is it you want to be? What do you want to become? And then, get there. And it is possible. It's possible for anybody. It's just a lot of people don't know how. And so that's what my mission out there. And that's what I've done in my book is here's the plan, at least in business, to be successful. And you don't have to go it alone. And I think that's the biggest thing.
So, there's this part I'm curious about. Why do 91% of founders fail? Got it?
It's a terrible stat. And, I think I can speak for most founders. I've been in that bucket. Most people have been in that bucket. You think you can out hustle that, and you really can't. They fail because they don't have the right systems in place, and a lot of it's kind of like unfair because there's been no process, no cookbook to show people here's how you win, here's the right things to do. And so what I did is, we went ahead and took what's worked to give people the shortcuts, and it all comes down to systems and frameworks, in my opinion. They without a framework that leads to burnout. You got to have the hustle, but you can't out hustle the wrong things. And so, for a couple of examples of it, is a lot of folks will chase the wrong type of revenue. Talk about it in chapter 2, which is not all revenue is created equally. So some folks will go in and they get that shiny object, and a lot of times that shiny object is disguised, right, into something that could be very, very attractive. And I know we were working on years ago something that seemed so beautiful, so attractive. And I had a board member that said, this is the worst thing in the world. I'm like, you know what you're talking about. And we won it. And then I made the really hard decision, said, nope, we're not doing it. My board member was right. And oh man, thank goodness we came up with that, because it would have just destroyed us. So a lot of times it's going after the wrong revenue. It's not having the right focus, and it's not having the right framework. So I like to talk about people that start their companies think they're really good at what they do, right? They should think they're the best at it. That's why you're going out and doing it, because you want to give the world what you're so good at. And unfortunately, in business, that's not good enough. You could be the best technician, the best technology, the best whatever. If you don't have the best revenue, you could go out of business. And so we talk about how revenue is really the lifeblood of an organization, and founders have to think in terms of revenue, profitability, not just top line revenue, but what's the revenue that's actually going to pay your bills, go back in your pocket, allow you to scale correctly. And then the other part is execution. And so we've developed the framework, the STEER model, STEAR, with A being the adjustments is really the critical part of that. Your strategy and tactics have to be aligned. I mean, everything has to be. That's really the mindset for founders. But you have to have that ability to execute, and that's where so many folks just get it wrong. And so we aim to help people and say, okay, well, here's what we do. Here's the frameworks we use. Here's the playbook. Here's the accountability systems. Here's what we do to monitor, measure. Is this worth it? Right? If you're doing the wrong things the right way, you're going to fail. So we want people to be doing the right things the right way, and so and that comes with having in the model and having everything aligned from a strategy, then how you're going to implement it, do it, evaluate, adjust, multiple little micro adjustments, and these are what 9%ers do correctly. We want to shift that 91% and get more of those people in the 9% bucket.
Beautiful. Now I see why you're so good at what you do, because you just opened my eyes to something very incredible. I love that. So how can founders avoid burnout while scaling? Got it?
Great question. And I really want to stress you can't out hustle issues. So a few things. One is you got to have the systems. So people think about scaling. Everybody wants to scale, right? And I've helped. It's not my businesses. I'm a scaling expert. I help companies get to that level. And what people have to understand, when you scale, everything scales, including your problems and your headaches. And so that's why it's so important to have the right infrastructure, the right systems in place, the right SOPs, the right trainings with people, the right adjustments and execution frameworks going on, so that when you're scaling the good stuff, minimizing the bad stuff, because additional headaches and chaos are going to come through. I think where the burnout comes in is that people end up just putting fires out every single day and they're never growing. So we got to have the right people. We talk about in the book with the leadership. You got to have the right people to do what you need to get done, so you can free yourself up, the founder, to move ahead and think over the next 18 months, steer the company into where it needs to go, or hire someone that can do that if that's not in your abilities. And also, when you have the systems in place and people, it can allow you to take some time off, shut it down, clear that brain. It took me a very long time to understand that, because I'm like, I mean, to be fair, I don't know I've ever taken a lunch break, but it's just that mindset to hustle. But when you keep hustling 24/7 forever, you're never giving your brain that ability to take a step back and really see what's going on. You got to shut it down sometimes. It's amazing. I do that. I'll just put it out of my head. 3 days later, I'm like, oh, I got the fix. Let's go. So it's getting that founders into that mindset, and that's how you prevent that burnout. You got to shut it down, but you got to have the systems. And a lot of people don't understand. You got to have the systems, the frameworks that are going to propel you to success.
Very important. Very important. I got that. So we still have some questions here. What is that one thing that top founders always focus on?
Um, so it's funny you say that. You asked that question, because I would say one attribute that 9%ers, the top people do, is they focus. And I remember years ago at a health tech company, and I took somebody out and this guy was super successful and sold one of his companies to Microsoft. Great business person. I said, hey, there's one thing you could advice you could give me. What would it be? And he said, focus. And I'm like, come on. I want to give me the real things. And then years later, I was doing something, researching. I see a quote from Steve Jobs, and the number one thing you can do is focus. And that doesn't mean staring at that one thing. It means saying no to the 100 opportunities that come your way every single day. And that's why when I talk about shiny object syndrome, that people go, yeah, I know it. Well, do you really know it? What are you saying no to and focus on? So that's number one, is that focus. But I think the thing that successful companies, successful people that run successful companies do, is they're focusing really on, and I don't know if I can say one or the other, but it's definitely, where's that revenue and where's that converting into profit? Because without it, you got nothing. And what are you doing to retain your customers and make sure that they're achieving greatness in their outcomes? Companies that do those two things never fail. It's when we lose sight of, we focus so much on getting new customers, we lose sight of the ones that we've got, and then you've got nothing. When we don't focus on revenue and sustainability, and I think that comes from systems focus and frameworks. But it's like the old thing. If the restaurant makes the best hamburgers, it doesn't matter if you're not selling the most hamburgers. And I think that mindset is what propels founders to the 9%, and those that just unfortunately don't get there.
So true, I got that. So let's get personal a bit, all right? So there is something I believe is so inevitable. So as a founder, what was the hardest lesson you had to learn as a founder?
Oh, you know, this was really interesting. I had always done a good job getting in front of the people I want to get in front of. And when I had a startup and it was a health tech company, we got in front of a CEO of an insurance company. And I'm doing my thing and like, oh, we can do this. And he's like, how can you do that? And I'm like, oh, we do it this way. And I'm like, this meeting's amazing. This guy was super cool. And then he gets into, well, how many customers have you done? I'm like, and he stops. He goes, are you a startup? And I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, why didn't you say so? And I'm like, well, he goes, you came in acting like you're this and that. Da, 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 da. He goes, if you told me you were a startup in the beginning, he's like, then I'd want to work with you and help you get there. And he started reading the writing. He goes, but you didn't. And now, and he's going on. And I was like, wow. And I go, can we start over? And he goes, because you'll never forget this moment in your life. And he's right. Never did. So, I think wherever stage you're in, we always want to be here, right? We always want at the top. But remember, it's a journey. Where you are, you move a little bit more towards it, you're better off. You're 3 feet further away than you were a day, a week, a year ago. That's a good thing. And so my message would be, acknowledge where you are in that journey, appreciate that moment because it is a journey. Enjoy the journey. Don't lose sight on that destination, but enjoy where you are. Don't go too fast. Don't go too slow, but enjoy the moment because it is a journey. You got to go through these steps to get to that finish line. And that's, I think, a lot of founders don't understand. Again, it comes into mindset. It took me many years to understand that. But I hope we can shorten that curve for many people going, hey, just set out, get your process and follow that process and enjoy the moment because you're doing what you love. And you should love that journey. That's why we start our own companies. We love what we do. We don't need alarm clocks. You should get out of bed every morning excited to get to work. That's what we do. It's passion.
It's passion, exactly. And I'm taking that as a final thought. For folks who would like to reach out to you, David, learn more about everything we've discussed or open your services, how can that be possible?
Well, I appreciate that. So our site is 9percenter.com. So that's 9 like the number, and then percent, PERCENTER, percenter.com. Always available on LinkedIn as well. But 9percenter.com, we've got our book, The 9% Club, where we talk about all these things. We got some free resources. We got a community. We love people to join it. And with our book, we hope people get it because we're donating 100% to wounded vets. And so, it's a nice thing too for people. So we're passionate about supporting our vets and all that stuff too. But 9percenter.com and join the community, and we got some resources. We have some really cool. We actually make our revenue operating system available to those that want to get to that level and do it. But we do trainings and really cool things. We're just here to help people achieve their goals.
I tell you, it's amazing the stuff that you're doing. I love it. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you so very much for coming, and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, my man. Thank you.
Thank you.